If you have ever looked up a tutorial on how to use a camera's histogram, you have probably been given the same piece of advice. Just keep the mountain in the middle. That is terrible advice. If you follow that rule while shooting a dark night sky or a bright snowstorm, you are going to ruin your image. The camera will take your beautiful white snow or your dramatic shadows and force them into a dull, muddy gray. To truly master manual mode, you have to stop looking at the histogram as a mysterious shape and start seeing it for what it actually is, a precise inventory of light. Today, we are going to break down exactly how the histogram is created, how it compares to Ansel Adams' famous zone system, and how to use it to nail your exposure every single time. To understand the histogram, we first have to understand the camera's brain. The exposure meters built into digital cameras are reflected light meters. They measure the light that is reflected by objects in the image. However, the camera cannot tell the difference between a brightly lit dark object and a poorly lit bright object. It has been programmed with a massive assumption. It assumes that the average reflectance of any given image is exactly 18%, which is known as middle gray. In most everyday situations, this works very well. But what happens if the image does not conform to the norm? If you take a photo in a snowstorm, the scene is mostly white and might be reflecting 80 to 90% of the light. Because the camera's meter assumes it is looking at a gray object, it thinks the scene is just overly lit. It will significantly underexpose the image, attempting to render the bright white snow as middle gray. This is where the histogram steps in to take the guesswork out of your settings. By definition, a histogram is just a graphical representation of the distribution of numerical data. In digital photography, this graph is always composed of 256 bars. Think of this horizontal axis as a sorting system. The far left edge, at bar 0, represents pure black pixels. The far right edge, at bar 255, represents pure white pixels. The 254 bars in between represent a gradual, seamless transition from pure black to pure white. The height of any individual bar simply tells you exactly how many pixels in your image are that exact shade. Now, to make this data useful in the field, we need to map those 256 bars to the visual reality of the scene in front of you. To do that, we look back to 1939, when Ansel Adams and Fred Archer developed the zone system. The zone system is a scale of 11 zones, denoted by Roman numerals from 0 to 10. Each zone is exactly one stop of light different from the zone next to it. When we overlay the digital histogram onto the zone system, everything clicks into place. Zone 0 aligns with the far left of the histogram. It is pure black. Zones 2 and 3 represent the average dark areas showing adequate texture, like landscape shadows. Zone 5 is dead center. This is that 18% middle gray the camera's meter is always hunting for. Zone 8 represents the lightest tones that still hold texture, like textured snow. Zone 10 aligns with the far right edge of the histogram. It is pure white, like glaring light sources or specular reflections. Suddenly, the histogram is no longer a mysterious mountain. It is a precise map of where the textures and details in your photograph currently live. So, how do we control this map? If you want to master manual mode, you have to think of your camera like a vehicle. There are 3 things needed to drive a car, and there are 3 things needed to manually control a camera: aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. These 3 settings are your steering wheel, your gas pedal, and your brakes. When you adjust your aperture, dial in a new shutter speed, or change your ISO, you are physically steering the pixels on your histogram. If your main subject falls into zone 3, a dark landscape shadow, but the camera is trying to force it into the middle of the graph at zone 5, you use your manual controls to steer the data back to the left, decreasing the exposure. You are the driver. You tell the pixels where they belong. But as the driver of this vehicle, there is one critical hazard you must avoid, and that brings us to the concept of clipping. Clipping happens when you steer your pixels beyond the camera's ability to record them. Highlight clipping occurs at the extreme right edge of the histogram. This means the image data is completely lost, creating a condition known as a blowout. When highlights are clipped, all that remains is pure white without any details or texture. If you plan to display your work as large plain canvas prints, a blown out highlight is disastrous. There is no ink to lay down. It is just empty, glaring space. Clipped highlight details cannot be recovered by any editing software. Shadow clipping occurs at the extreme left side of the graph, indicating lost shadow details. However, in general, it is much better to have shadow clipping than highlight clipping. With shadow clipping, hidden details and textures can often be recovered later in post-processing. This dictates the golden rule of digital exposure. When you are shooting in manual mode, especially when capturing nightscapes or low-key images, the majority of your pixels should live in the lower zones on the left side of the graph. Therefore, you must always check the histogram for your darkest shot and make absolutely sure the right side isn't clipped. Once you understand that the histogram is just a map of 256 tones, you stop guessing. You take control of the vehicle, you protect your highlights, and you capture exactly what you intended. Get out there, check your edges, and start steering your pixels with purpose. If you found value in this tutorial, please hit the subscribe button and help this channel grow so I can continue to create more videos like this. If you want to dive deeper into the world of histograms, check out my book Mastering Photographic Histograms. The Amazon link is in the description.